we'll go ahead and do some introductions on our side. My name is Karen Downs. I'm in Kansas City, Missouri. I'm a senior strategic advisor here at Staffbase, and I'm newer to the company, but I have spent most of my career leading intranet programs for large enterprise organizations. And in the past few years, I've been consulting with companies across lots of different industries who want to build world-class intranet programs that include, a thoughtful approach to things like content strategy and governance and search and social strategy and effective communication measurement practices and so on. But in my job here at Staffbase, what I really love most is helping you connect your communication strategies to meet top-line business objectives. And when we really get it right, the great news is it makes the day-to-day work lives of thousands of employees around the entire globe that much easier. So while we're waiting for everybody to participate in the survey, I'll just pass it over to Ishan. You want to go next?
Yeah, thank you, Karen. Hey, everyone. My name is Ishan, and I'm part of the Staffbase Solutions team. All that means is I work with some of our largest accounts globally to roll out some of the solutions that they desire to drive KPIs that are top of mind for their leaders. We're going to look at the product today a little bit down in the webinar, and I hope you're as excited to see it as I am to show it. Looking forward to the conversation. Sebastian, I'll pass it to you.
Thanks, Ishan, and hello from my side. Sebastian Hoff, also working for the strategic advisory team as Karen does, located in Dresden, Germany. And I'm the one coming into our customer onboardings, consulting our customers on their digital workplace strategy, on their migration strategies. My background is not really communications, but rather digital transformation. Before I joined Staffbase, I worked for a global Fortune 500 company, being responsible for the digital transformation of communication, sales, and marketing. And in that time, I also got to know Staffbase and had the pleasure to introduce Staffbase as an employee app and intranet, also to a company with a big amount of frontline workers. So this was an amazing project. And later, I decided to switch sides. Now I'm working here at Staffbase, bringing in this experience and the experience that I gained from all the customers that I'm working with. And this is also why we are starting with such an open question. What are you looking for? What is the kind of approach that you're taking? Are you looking for a one-to-one replacement of workplace? Did you absolutely love it? Do you want to only replace the best working features? Just let us know in the chat so that we can shape our conversation together with you. But with that, I'm handing it back over to Karen to walk you through what we have planned for you.
Yeah, thank you, Sebastian. So if you haven't had a chance yet, please do fill in the poll. Also, the opportunity to comment if you've what it is specifically that you are looking to replace, just like Sebastian was talking about. We'll see if we get those poll results here in just a moment. But following up on that poll, whether you've been super happy with workplace adoption in your organization, or if you've run into challenges or something in between, I think we've got some information to share that is going to be helpful to address specific needs that you might have, and also explore additional opportunities to help complement your overall internal communication goals, especially opportunities to connect and engage with your employees. And it looks like we're at about 60% live stream is the favorite capability, 40% posting feature. So it looks like we're at about a 60-40 split. And I'll go ahead and introduce our company. So if you're not already familiar with Staffbase, we're a software company that's truly focused on communication and business. Our company was founded in 2014 with a goal of equipping companies to reach every employee with inspiring communication. And today we work with over 2,200 businesses around the world. We offer a comprehensive approach to digital communications, which you'll get a chance to see firsthand today. On the agenda, just did introductions during the polling. We will Sebastian's going to talk about the workplace discontinuation and opportunities. Then we're going to come back. I'll share some thoughts with you about the changing landscape of employee engagement. Sebastian will showcase the things that make Staffbase customers successful. And finally, Ishan will close us out with that demo of the Staffbase platform. So with that, Sebastian, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, sure. Hopefully you can see my screen already. Let me kick it off with kind of workplace was a phenomenon. So we have seen many customers and employees grieving after the sunset announcement. And especially for companies that loved working with workplace, this situation now really sucks. So there will be tough decisions to be made, and we've already talked to a lot of those affected companies who fear that this will be also a kind of disappointing change, right? So you're losing something that in many cases is working out very well, and you have to replace it. But looking at the market alternatives at the moment, there are no solutions in place that replace workplace one-on-one. So the recommended replacement strategy coming from Meta is owned by a parent company, Zoom, who, like Meta, just don't offer their version of workplace as their core business. It's just part of a wider product portfolio. And even if there would be a solution to replace it as it is, would you be happy with a like-for-like replacement? And even more important from my perspective is, would your employees be happy with that? Because if you're giving your child something for Christmas and then taking it away from them and give them exactly the same thing again next year, would they be happy? Would they have fun with it, or would they just put it aside? And this is kind of the same that applies now with replacing workplace from my end. Like for like can't and won't be the solution here. So you're basically starting on a green field again, as hard as it sounds. You probably had already every man in the stock contact you with their solutions and with their approaches, and it's also kind of overwhelming and annoying. So let's spend some minutes today to focus on what's really important and what really matters as the next step. And the most important thing from my perspective is that you have to excite your employees again. Because like the child, where you take away the present and giving them something similar again, there won't be much joy if you replace workplace just with another tool and it does the same thing. Of course, you need to give them their beloved features. Everything that worked out well, you have to continue to do, but you also need to give them more. So more value, more excitement. You have to do better at the end. And as much as companies loved workplace, we've also heard in our conversations that there were some shortcomings and frustrations for some of those companies. So for example, admin permissions, things like content moderation, lots of extra steps to clean up or control. So for example, having to archive hundreds or even thousands of groups. Clogged and difficult navigation was something that we often heard, an overwhelming user experience, and so on and so on. So this is why I think that decommissioning of such a tool is also a huge chance, and the chance is to make something better. And you can do something better for your whole organization. So something that covers all communication channels in one platform, including something like email, including also maybe external communications and your intranet. Something that takes a proven approach that frontline workers will adopt, like having a fully branded mobile app, for example, and demonstrated projects with a great adoption at hundreds of thousands of frontline employees in multiple industries. And we want to spend some time today to talk about what we see as trends in the market. This is something that Karen will do, and how they can give you those trends, how they can give you additional value into your replacement considerations, because that's the thing that is up next for you. So Karen will share her insights on what she is seeing happening with regards to employee engagement. I will talk a bit about what makes Staffbase customers successful. Ishan will show you how the Staffbase platform could look like for you. And last but not least, we will also walk you through how we are currently already supporting workplace customers today with an approach to help you figure out how to move on. And this also may be in combination with Staffbase. And we are offering this approach here proactively because we need to talk about how to make something better. We need to understand how Workplace was used by you, because every organization is using it differently. In every organization, something else works perfectly and some other things don't. And so we need to talk about what to continue and what to let go. And of course, also about how to do it, because with any promise of an automated way of transferring everything into a new solution, the devil is always in the details. So we know that there are a lot of agencies and a lot of tech companies promising exactly this, that they can transfer everything automatically to a new tool. And I do think this is highly questionable, because they promise that this is an easy task, but it might not be. And with a thoughtful and considered approach based on real successful projects we have done in the past, it can be amazing, even if it's sometimes a bit harder. And it can be amazing for your employees and your whole organization. But to achieve this, we need to talk about comms, and we need also to talk about digital workplace strategies. And we need to figure out how to bring your current workplace usage to the next level to do something better. And to do so, let me give it back to Karen to have a look on what she brought as trends that might influence your considerations.
Thanks, Sebastian. You're absolutely right. I think that it is so important to think about the things that are really driving engagement. And this first point that I want to make about content still being that main event, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Creating engaging content that really resonates with specific employee audiences is still the absolutely most important thing. And we can't forget that. It's not something that I expect to be new or different, particularly for anyone in this audience. But I did think it was important to include almost as more of a statement of affirmation of the great communication work that is happening in our organizations every day, especially because of what we've seen recently with the coming of generative AI and bots that scrape content. Audiences are growing weary and skeptical of content that isn't exactly meeting our needs. And so we have to keep creating relevant content to rally our audiences. We have to keep creating engaging content that requires communication professionals to take, or to do that, it requires communication professionals to take proactive steps at understanding their audiences, to really know what their needs are, what's occupying their mind share, what's keeping them up at night, and be able to talk with them in ways that will resonate. It also requires creating specific messaging plans, both that help establish business alignment and to keep company leaders aligned and on message. That is so essential. Also establishing that editorial calendar helps to keep that plan and manage what will occupy that employee mind share. And having that strong editorial messaging plan at the center of your internal communication strategy is so key. Content is still the king, even after all these years. The next thing is really about simplifying publishing for multi-channel communication professionals. So having a great communication plan won't really matter if the job to publish is too complex, too overwhelming, if I'm having to go one place to publish news, to another place to share those articles, still another place to send out newsletters, and still another place to curate conversation around these important topics across our employee bases. And especially as budgets become tighter and there's fewer people available to do the work, empowering our communication professionals to reach key employee audiences is so essential. Also, it's still super important to simplify the publishing processes, and that requires integrated tools that support multi-channel messaging for planning, for segmenting audiences, for pushing messages out, and really for understanding the ways in which audiences are engaging with content. Empowering our people leaders also just helps so much. Employees trust their managers most when it comes to providing context for how the company messages are going to relate back to their individual teams and their individual roles within the organization. And savvy communication professionals are going to tap into that network of people leaders. These managers literally become their own communication channel in and of itself. This includes taking time to understand the unique needs of those frontline managers and opportunities to help them communicate effectively with their teams. So things like taking a moment to recognize how busy people leaders are, taking time to understand and address what they want. Make it easy for managers to look good in front of their teams with bite-sized content that they can share in whatever format they have when they're meeting with their team members. So helping your employees connect with each other, both for team or work group collaboration and on a more personal level, is also super important for a high functioning business work environment, digital or otherwise. But making personal connections does not replace the need for great content that drives alignment and productivity, and it should not come at the expense of these things. It's the first step, not the ultimate goal. Empowering employees with collaboration spaces is also incredibly important. But if these spaces are indistinguishable from the curated communication channels, the curated topics that we want people grappling with and talking about, it will rapidly become overwhelming to employees. And evidence of overwhelm can be found in employee engagement surveys, in daily conversations around the office, and field visits and listen-ins and that kind of thing. It also is super important to measure your communication outcomes. Without data and analytics and insights, you're just flying blind. Qualitative and quantitative data will provide essential insights for business communication professionals and other company leaders, putting your communication professionals in a position to be able to have those effective conversations about what needs to be done from a communication perspective, what conversations need to be curated and encouraged and participated in. That cannot happen without data to tell us where those conversations are happening, what's relevant, what's occupying employee mind share. This is true for the top line communication channels, including news and newsletters and that kind of thing, but also the topic-based social spaces where we're driving those conversations. Though that content, that communication content, needs to be separate. It needs to be, it's equally important, but it needs to be separated from the collaboration content, the day-to-day work group collaboration, document-based collaboration, where the truth is changing from day to day, moment to moment. It needs to be separate so that we can understand this is the company word versus these are the things that we are grappling with in real time. And then measuring those sentiments and campaigns, incredibly helpful to measuring your communication outcomes. So that's a little bit of what I had prepared for you today, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Sebastian. He's going to talk about what makes our Staffbase customers successful.
Thank you, Karen. That wasn't an easy job for me, actually, to condense this down into a couple of minutes, what makes our customers successful, because we're looking at over 2,000 companies utilizing Staffbase every day. But I tried my best, and I will skim through a couple of points. I actually brought 10 different success factors that I see as very important, and I will quickly run through them together with you. And let us start with the first one. And the first one for me is ease of use. So Workplace was also quite familiar to use because of people knowing Facebook and how Facebook works, and this applied also for Workplace. Staffbase has the same thing in terms of it needs just to work, because we're talking about an application that is used by hundreds and thousands of people who, if we're looking at frontline workers, face the first time with an application coming from their employer. And you can't spend time with thousands of employees to talk them through how an application works. They need to download it, they need to log in, and they just need to know how to use it and what's in for them. And in everything that we're doing, easy to use is one of the core principles. Doesn't matter if you're talking about employee app, doesn't matter if you're talking about intranet, it always is a very lightweight approach that everybody can use and is from the first minute on familiar with. So very user-friendly interface for all of our customers. The second thing is branding. I already touched on this beforehand. Fully branded mobile app is something that really helps to create trust. Branding everywhere, even multi-branding, if you're an organization having different brands or different divisions with different kind of identities below you, this is also something that is possible. And if we're looking at those screenshots, you can see that the app can be made available in the public app store, so everybody can download it. Basically, you're getting the full Staffbase package, and we will never mention Staffbase to your employees. So even the developer's account, which is used to publish the app, is something that is having your organization's name in there. There is no route that draws back to Staffbase. It's always an application from your organization, from your company. And this helps to kind of solve this frontline adoption challenge. So Workplace had a unique adoption advantage through this familiarity with Facebook, and user adoption, especially among the frontline, is very challenging. Perhaps it's also the biggest challenge in such kind of projects. And you might want to consider working with vendors that have specific expertise here. And we are coming from exactly this area, solving this gap between office workers and non-desk workers. And that's why something like branding is so important for us. The next thing on my list is omni-channel or multi-channel. So we're not only talking about having this as an app for all your employees. We are not only talking about having an intranet for all your employees. You can utilize every channel that is necessary to reach your employees and to give them a good employee experience. And we can clearly also see this in our data. So customers that are utilizing only one of those channels, be it an employee app, be it an intranet, or be it an email newsletter, they have quite good stats, but we see better performance for those customers utilizing multiple of those channels. It's working out better if you're having an employee app combined with an intranet and maybe also email, to have curated newsletters going out to tell the employees, hey, this is something that happened this week, you might have missed this. So this really gives you a head start in utilizing a tool for your communications. And the thing that is bound to that is, if you're now looking at a replacement of Workplace, you can also think about having a look on the existing other channels in your organization, for example, your intranet. Because if I have an IT project, and a replacement of a tool is always also an IT project, you might want to consider having a look at your intranet as well, to not leave it out in the cold when you do this project, because there's also the opportunity to make things better in a broader scale and do two things in one project. Point number 5 is something that is showing that we're clearly coming from a comms perspective, and I'm talking about doing communications from end to end. So this is about not missing the opportunity to centralize your communications planning, aligning both internal and external messaging with kind of air traffic control, so that your communications are more coherent, more strategic, more effective. As you can tell from all the points that we already mentioned, we are a comms vendor since the beginning, since we were founded. And our customers are successful because we listen to them and we build the things they ask for. And something like this end-to-end communications management is something that is helping a lot of organizations being on a completely different level. The point why this is so important from my point of view is, don't go with another solution that gets deprecated in a couple of years because it's owned by a parent company that is focused on other things. We will not change our focus. We will remain a communications company, and we will remain having a look on good communications, good employee experience, And this is what you can expect from us in everything that we're doing. Point number 6 is personalization, something that is also one of the main aspects for all our customer projects right in the beginning. So right in the beginning, for all of our customers, we are talking about their user segments and the target groups bound to that, because targeting is one of the biggest levers you have in doing such a project. And I just brought on the left-hand side a screenshot of the DHL front door intranet they're doing with us. And this single start page is working for 600,000 employees. And this is just possible with personalization, because it is important that you control what the system presents as important content. It's not an algorithm that decides what is important, it's you. And this sounds like a big task, but actually it isn't, because working with a segment approach and a target group approach, you can then set up passive personalization, meaning that the content that is most relevant is shown to every single employee, and you have to do this once. And once this is done, you can also think about bringing active personalization into the system, meaning that the employees can proactively subscribe to additional communication. So everything that we're doing with Staffbase is targeted, and this gives a lot of opportunities to our customers. And by targeting, I'm not only talking about a start page or a navigation that is personalized, I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about push notifications. You want to specifically send push notifications only to the relevant target group and not to somebody else. I'm talking about doing surveys. I'm talking about emails. Everything that you can touch in Staffbase can be personalized, and this is one of the most important features that I discuss with my customers. The second thing is that we are drawing a line between communities or groups, like it's called in Workplace, and communications. And this is, from my perspective, also something that our customers really love, that we don't have this overall feed where everything comes together. Of course, technically this would be possible, but our recommendation is always to keep those two things separate. It can also be both can be on the start page, so that you have your newsfeed and that you have your social wall or your groups coming together. But we want to avoid situations where the CEO has an important update and there's a post from him and it gets bumped away after 10 minutes by a posting with a cat picture. This just doesn't make sense from a communications perspective, and that's why we are saying, okay, we will always have a slight separation between what we are doing on the communication side of things, because this is single source of trust. This is important. Here it is about reach, and what we are doing on the engagement side of things with social walls, with groups, with communities. And talking about communities, Karen also touched on analytics. This is also something where we are bringing a lot of features to our customers. The one side of the things there is that you, of course, want to measure the success of your groups or your communities. You want to know which are performing well, which are kind of dying and might be deleted in the future. You know what you want to know what is going on. And on the other hand side, what we are bringing are deep measuring possibilities for your communications. And we're not only talking about reaching people there. We are talking about things like engagement scores. How are people engaging with your content? We are talking about net sentiment score. What is their opinion on that? Is this going into a positive direction or into a negative direction? And we're even talking about alignment. So have you reached hearts and minds of your employees? Have you changed the narrative in their heads? This is something that is possible only with a tool that is focused on communications, but everything else, measuring of the engagement content of social walls, is of course also possible. The next point is we are always part of the digital workplace. If we're talking about Workplace, if we're talking about Staffbase, if we're talking about any kind of other tool, we are always talking about how does the digital workplace of an organization looks like. And for most of our customers, Staffbase is the central entry point to their digital world. And that means the most important digital workplace tools need to be connected also to the central entry point. We're talking about a front door approach here. We're talking about having, for example, Microsoft integrated especially for the office workers. We're talking about having processes coming maybe from your HR tool or your service management tool like ServiceNow. We're also talking about federated searches so that information can be found in the single entry point. So integration that really matter, that really make a difference for your employees, that make their lives easier and help them to navigate through your digital workplace. And last but not least, I have one point that is a benefit for all of our customers. And this is the aspect that you can work with somebody who has been there before. There are only a few players in the market who have done projects at the scale of workplace. So talking about also very large organizations with thousands or hundreds of thousands of employees, and also across many industries. There are so many factors that matter if you're doing projects on this scale, like infrastructure, like support, like implementation approach, user data management, and ultimately also adoption of the tool. And all of them are implicated based on experience. And we have worked with so many organizations. We have learned in every single project, and this is something that we are also bringing in all of our projects. All of our customer success managers have their experience made with a lot of customers coming from the same industry that you're working in, and we are trying to incorporate all the learnings into what we're doing. And the point here is, please don't become some vendor's first experiment, because at the moment I have the feeling that there are a lot of sharks in the ocean that are trying to get a bite of the workplace chunk that is swimming there. And there are a lot of companies also in the market at the moment that don't bring experience. But as I said in the beginning, this is your chance to make something better. But for that, you need a partner at your side who is supporting you. And I brought only two examples, two very concrete examples. One is GE and one is DHL, both companies that we work with that are achieving tremendously great results by utilizing Staffbase as their central tool for their digital workplace and for their communication. But I have now talked way more than I have planned. So let me hand it over to Ishan that actually can show you how Staffbase looks like and how it could look like for you.
Hey everyone, I'm sure all of you are just as excited to see Staffbase as I am to show it. We're going to touch upon a few different points that we already went over as part of Sebastian and Karen's slideshow. One quick highlight is this is not a one-to-one replacement to Workplace. I think we highlighted that earlier in our conversation as well, but setting that context before we dive into the platform. Now, all of you should be able to see my phone on the screen. It's a live phone. I have a bunch of different notifications. And what I want to do today is run through a typical use case where your everyday worker has a smartphone and they have about 500 applications on their phone, and all of the noise, all of the notifications, they all flow through. This touches upon the first use case or the first highlight of fully branded and white labeled applications. For today's demonstration, we're going to use a Staffbase branded app, but all of our customers are fully white labeled. And that's one thing we're proud of, that we have a 100% success rate. We've never launched an app that is Staffbase branded yet. So jumping in, Zoom, I'm Patrick, and I'm excited to, I'm waiting for and excited to see one of the launches that my company is going to announce that I'm aware of. So as I jump into my phone, I see that I have a few different notifications coming in from Staffbase. If you look at all the other notifications, you see all of their logos, the applications, XYZ, but the blue logo, the name, I know it's my employer, that kind of draws my attention. So when I click into it, I see that there's a couple of different notifications that I've received. I'm most excited about the pictures that we took in the last event that took place. So that's the first thing I'm going to click on. What that does is it's going to pull up my application, which will be fully white labeled, and it takes me into this post that's been created by one of my colleagues. In this case, the post is created by Ishan, and I'm playing the role of Patrick. Sorry for the confusion. I check out the post. I look at the couple of images that are part of the post. I'm easily able to exit. I say, I love this. I can mention one of my colleagues to make sure that they're able to check out these pictures and the post as well. And because I posted this, Nicole is someone that will get notified on their mobile app that I've tagged her into a conversation. These are some of the social elements of Staffbase, which are inherent and part of our core functionality. Now, as Patrick, I'm going to jump back out. I'm going to go into my home, and I'm going to quickly look at what's going on within my company. Now, if you notice, it's a consumer grade application with a bunch of different bells and whistles that have been added into this landing page. One key aspect of this landing page is personalized to me, Patrick, as an individual. Anything and everything that you see feeding in here is one, it's controlled top down, but it's also hyper personalized, so something that is most relevant to me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and see what else was published. I see that there's the product launch, which I was most excited about, is right here. The communicator decided to add some animation, some bells and whistles, some confetti that blew up because it's an exciting point in my company's history. We're going to be launching an event. You'll notice a couple of flags, like this has been marked as important and it has been marked as something that needs to be acknowledged so that the communicators know that it's something I've read and some information that I've consumed. There's a quick video for launch. I guess this was off of YouTube. As I scroll down, I'm looking at information about what I need to do as an employee for this launch. I noticed that there's a button for an event hub, and we'll come back to that in a second. But I noticed that it has a bunch of important information for me. It has some hashtags attached to it. This is an easy way of tagging posts so that they can be grouped together and you can build metrics off of it. I'm going to click acknowledge as read. And I'm also going to say that I love this and I'm excited about this launch. So I'm going to engage with the post. If you notice, there's like, reply, some of the basic social media type of functions that our employees and day-to-day workforce is used to, they're all in there. But now I'm most interested in clicking into the event hub, so going in and seeing what else is there about the event that's been posted already. One key thing that I was drawn to is that I need to register for this event to make sure that my organization is able to account for the number of people that will show up that they need to make accommodations for. As I scroll down, I'll see a couple of buttons. One says register, the other says activities. I go down, it says there's a launch schedule and an agenda. There's some policies and procedures that have been attached to this landing hub that's been built for the event. It's the code of conduct. It highlights certain things that I need to keep in mind. If I'm traveling for the event, what are the expectations? All the information is consolidated and added to this one landing page for me to be able to find and consume super easily. I also noticed that there's some additional updates that are flowing in, which are related to the topic of this product launch. Maybe some project work, maybe some collaboration activities, maybe some planning that needs to take place. You could all feed that into this page or this hub, which holds static as well as dynamic information. Now I want to register for the event. So I'm going to click on the button register, and it takes me directly into the product launch event registration. I'm able to see what's planned for this event, when it is, where it is, and I can easily click register. It lets me know that the action was completed successfully, and I'm good to go from that standpoint. Interestingly enough, there's also a button for activities. This is an easy way to gather feedback from someone who's interested in attending the event. As a communicator or an event planner, I want to see what people actually want to see in the event, right? So while planning activities, I've given them a few options. This is multiple choice. Would be great to to have some live music. So I'm putting in my suggestions as an employee. This is extremely important because now my voice is heard and I'm able to communicate directly and provide feedback to the organizers for this event. Now, once I've gone through all of this, I want to go back to home to see what else is going on. The big difference between workplace and Staffbase, at least right out the door, is the real estate space for this landing page is controlled by the communicator. So there are social aspects, they come down the road or down on the page, as opposed to important company information, which can be highlighted front and center. So any announcements, any updates, it isn't overlooked or missed. As I scroll down, one of the poll feedback was that you love the ability to post directly within Workplace. And as an employee, Staffbase allows me to do the same thing. I'm easily able to create a post. I can add images directly from my phone or videos, externally embed, and easily publish this article within this feed if I want to share my views or my opinion with the larger audience. Now, as I'm scrolling through this, some of the other social aspects of Staffbase would be, one, being able to find someone that I'm looking for across the organization. So I can jump into my people directory. Let's pick Maria as an example. I have an easy click to call option. If I click on this, because I'm on my phone, it'll give me the option to directly dial the number from my phone itself. I can click to message. So if I click on the message piece, it'll open the chat function, which is also part of the bottom toolbar. It's waiting for it to load. But if I go back to the people directory, some of the other aspects that you see right here in the profile is an org chart or some likes and dislikes, who Maria's manager is, and any engagement that she's had with the platform recently. So she posted something about a yoga course, which is what I can see on her profile. So this was it for a quick high-level overview for the mobile experience. The one last thing I want to touch upon is a recognition function. Recognition is built into Staffbase, and it's an easy way for employees to shout out their colleagues in public. You can @mention, you can tag people, and they'll pull up the profiles directly from your employee directory or your people directory. And you can select and choose what you want to congratulate or thank them for. It has some other social aspects in terms of, hey, what do I want the background color for? Is it celebratory? It lets you preview the post before it actually goes out. And these are some of the easy ways to engage and keep employees coming back to the platform, not just to engage with their peers, but also to consume company information and important updates, which you might have posted. Now, since we've looked at mobile, I'm going to slide over to talk about the desktop experience. As you noticed right off the bat, it's very similar to the mobile experience you just saw. So it's almost one-to-one parity, except this is auto-optimized for the screen I'm viewing it in. So this is a desktop, and it's optimized for me to be able to engage with it if I'm sitting at a desk. You'll notice that I have some notifications in chat. You'll notice that I'm part of a few different groups. I have some one-on-one chats. I can easily engage, react, reply to certain comments posted in the chat, but it gives you an easy way of collaborating within your employees. One call out here would be that this chat is native to Staffbase, but you could also set it up such that this chat redirects employees so that they can send messages in Microsoft Teams directly, for example, or reach out to their colleagues in Slack. All of these are native functions that are built into Staffbase. Few other items that I think are important. One is being able to jump into a knowledge library and maintaining a list of documents and helpful information, including courses and videos, which you might want your frontline staff to view and acknowledge. Some overviews for policies and documents that you want to host on this can also be easily added. Another aspect of this is being able to jump into how your grouping works. There's a lot of different ways to manage groups. We believe that your open groups or your work items should always be something that employees can opt in and out of based on their interest. And that's what we have built natively within Staffbase. And then just going back onto the one-to-one parity, we went on this page on mobile. The same can be made visible and available on desktop as well. Just as easy to engage. Again, you can host documents. The core function of the platform is built around 3 core capabilities. One is dynamic content, which is news and constant updates or live streams, which you want to host within the platform. And then the other aspect is static content, which is documents, policies, items that don't change that often. You could create a combination of the two and make them easily available for your workforce. So looking at desktop, I want to quickly touch upon the last piece, which is analytics. We provide analytics at a micro as well as a macro level. So let's say you wanted to just look at how a post is performing, right? So at a post level, you're able to quickly click into something and check out basic engagement metrics. How many people are engaging from mobile versus how many people are accessing this from desktop. How do they get to the news post? Like, how do I better understand my audience? Some people got in there from a news feed widget. Some people got in there from SharePoint. So it also brings in external sources in case you were publishing this on SharePoint, Drupal, one of your other internal applications. And then in depth, if people got to it from search, from a link, from another URL that was part of a previously published news post, all of that is captured and made available for you to be able to better understand your audience. This is at a micro level. Jumping into the macro level analytics, our platform by default also tracks this over time. So let's assume you want to better understand, are my communications effective for the audience over a period of time? Or what is it that I've achieved by tweaking my communications or by trying to engage my audience in a better manner? This gives you not just your current visibility, but how it's been comparing week over week. It gives you engagement scores. It also gives you a sentiment score. This is one of the things we just released, which is powered by natural language processing and it uses the OpenAI enterprise grade model that Microsoft provides. So any comments, any reactions that have been left against a published piece of content, we will analyze the language or the reaction and combine that to give you an overall sentiment score. Again, these are graphs which will help you better understand your audience. Visibility by user group focuses on how your audience types are performing. So if something was published at a global level, how are these different audience types reacting or engaging with it? Are they as aligned with this specific initiative as you expect them to be? And if someone isn't as engaged, so for example, my Leipzig crew or my Berlin crew isn't engaging with it as much, I would want to focus more communications towards them or analyze to understand why is that the case. This also gives you the same thing, comment sentiment or net sentiment score over time on a post by post level to try and understand which post performed positively versus which one missed the mark. Okay, so we went through a mobile experience. We went through the desktop experience, which is at one-to-one parity. And then we went through micro and macro analytics, which help you tie your audience engagement into something that will help you drive better business decisions. That's what I had prepared today for walking us through the Staffbase platform. We only have a couple of minutes left, so I hope you enjoyed the presentation and good luck. Have a great day.
Thank you, Ishan. I do think this was a tough job to bring this down to a couple of minutes. I have seen other demos of you going way longer and way more detailed, but you did a great job to give a high-level overview. We're there, of course, at any point in time, if you want to learn more, if you want to see more, happy to introduce you to our whole solution engineering team, who is there to give you extensive demos, extensive insights into the product that we're bringing. But what I want to spend the last couple of minutes on, and we lost a bit of time with the technical issues at the beginning, I want to quickly talk to you about how we are currently supporting other affected organizations that are looking to what is the alternative, what is the next step for us, how can we make something better. And we have come up with a very, very condensed approach that our strategic advisory team, people like Karen, myself, or Sven are doing. We're splitting this into 2 sessions. So we are starting with a diagnostic session where we have a standardized questionnaire prepared to learn about what is your current workplace usage. So what are the features that you're using? What is going well? What is going not so well? What are you expecting for a replacement? We're checking also the amount of content. So how many groups are there? How many users are there? How big is your knowledge library? And we're also talking about your whole digital workplace strategy. How can something as a replacement come into this whole strategy? How is this aligning with your IT strategy? And based on what we learned in this 1-hour session, we are then going to prepare a scenario overview from our perspective. So what could possible next steps look like? So we are doing a use case mapping, what could go where, because we said this multiple times, there won't be a one-to-one replacement in most cases. So we have to decide what kind of technologies are we going to use. For example, something could go into the direction of Teams. If we're talking about audio and video calls, this is something we need to decide together. And we're presenting this whole mapping to you and this whole replacement scenarios that we are preparing. We can also have a look into dedicated features that you are looking forward to, and we're defining the next steps together. The good thing is we're already quite used to that, so we can get back to you with a result in 5 working days, which is a quite quick turnaround that helps you consider next steps. And we're happy to talk with you. If you want to reach out to us, our lovely marketing team has prepared one overview on the next slide with QR codes that are leading to all of our LinkedIn profiles. So you can reach out to Karen, Ishan, and myself via LinkedIn. And we also have planned a webinar for the week after next week, which is planned on a long-term basis with Brussels Airlines. I'm doing this together with the comms responsible at Brussels Airlines, which could fit quite well, because we're not talking about workplace, but we're talking about the same things that most of the workplace customers have tried to do and are now looking to replace. We're talking about belonging, creating a culture of belonging. We are talking about engagement. And this is something that Brussels Airlines is doing quite well with Staffbase. So if you're interested to see how actually our customers are doing this, what is working out quite well, what is maybe also not working out quite well, maybe this is something you can mark in your calendars. Week after next week, I guess it's August 13th. This would be a good chance to get a real life example and hearing from a customer directly of Staffbase. So with that, we're 2 minutes over. Thanks for being patient with us. Sorry for the technical difficulties at the beginning. Hopefully this was valuable for you. You took away some thoughts about how to move on. If there's anything that you have as question marks, please feel free to reach out directly to us.